Hello, welcome to Snack Sandwich. Today I have a really quick video, probably not a quick one, pretty long video on tangible, okay? There's a lot here, so I'm going to try to make this introduction really brief, okay? But there's a lot to talk about. Tangible, I've done a video in the past on tangible, but there has been significant upgrades and improvements and additions to it that I believe it warrants another video, okay? So tangible is a real world asset marketplace where you can kind of buy and sell fractionalization tokenized real world assets. Okay. They also have this Pearl exchange, which is a solidly DEX. I'm not going to explain how a solidly DEX works here. You can kind of dig deeper and find that out. Watch another video of mine. But anyways, there is that. And then there, of course, as always, I've read the docs here. You should read them too. Read the white paper, get a pretty good understanding. And then if you have any questions, go to their Discord, go to their Telegram, ask them some more questions. I'm basing everything on what I've read here. There's a few little places inside these docs where things are a little bit confusing and not clear, especially when they talk about using DAI or USDC or USDR to do things. Sometimes they say you can use USDR to do this, but I can't quite seem to find out that that's the case. So anyways, there might be some zapping or something like that going on inside. Okay, so let's swing over to the flowchart. It's a pretty long one, so let's get over there as soon as possible and try to get into it. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart. We have dollar bill, grandma bill, and boosted bill. All of these people are going to play a role in today's video. So we have tangible here in the middle, okay? So the first thing we talk about is the marketplace. I'm not going to deep dive on the marketplace. You're going to deep dive yourself or watch my other video. But basically, Grandma has some real world assets and she wants to tokenize, sell them for DAI on the blockchain. So in my other video, I believe I talked about wine, watches, and gold bars, but now they have actual rental income, rental property, which is a significant upgrade. Okay, so let's say she has a rental building, she tangibilizes it, gets and starts selling pieces of it for some DAI. She also gets some trading fee every time, like a royalty type fee, because she tokenized it, okay? Now, over here we have Boosted Bill. Boosted Bill wants some USDR, which is the stablecoin, real USD. Okay, so he can use two things to mint it. He can use tangible tokens. So he can send some tangible tokens and mint some USDR based on the value of those tangible tokens. However, the entire circulating supply of USDR cannot be backed by more than 10% of these tangible tokens. So he might come here with tangible tokens and then realize, oh, I can't back it right now. I cannot mint because there's too many people have already minted before me, okay? So the other option is to use DAI. So he can send DAI to the tangible contracts and mint USDR 1-to-1. Now the redemption system goes the other way, okay? So they promise that you can always redeem USDR 1-to-1 for DAI. However, they put a small fee on it to encourage people to, instead of redeeming, to go to the exchange and swap USDR for DAI. And because they don't want the treasury's DAI to be taken out of there, they would prefer you to swap. Now, but if you don't want to swap, you can redeem for DAI. Now, because that treasury is rehypothecated and put to work, then there might not be enough DAI sitting there in the buffer waiting for redemptions. So in the case where a dollar bill comes and he's like, hey, I want some DAI, but there's no DAI there right now, then they will mint him some promissory DAI. Now that promissory DAI can be burned when the DAI arrives in the redemption contract and get the DAI. However, maybe Boosted Bill wants out right now, so then he can sell that promissory DAI to someone else who wants, DAI, who's willing to wait for that redemption DAI to fill up, right? And in the case, then he can buy that from the market, and dollar bill can take that small haircut. Okay, moving on. Now, USDR is a rebasing token, so it doesn't really work friendly with some smart contracts like bridges and stuff like that. So you can wrap it as WUSDR, and then it becomes an interest-bearing token that goes up in value, and then you can send that across certain bridges and maybe use it as collateral in some smart contracts and stuff. Okay. Now let's talk about the treasury. That treasury or that smart contract is holding the DAI and the tangible used to mint. Now that DAI is used to purchase grandma's real world assets. Okay, so they don't just leave the DAI sitting in there. Instead, they take some of it and they use it to purchase the real estate assets from the tangible marketplace. Now I put roughly 50%. When I get down here, I'll talk a little bit about numbers, but they want to keep some DAI as redemption, and they want to use some DAI in other places as well. So about half of it is used to purchase the real estate assets off of the tangible marketplace. So now the Treasury has done this for a while. They have some real estate assets in holding, and those real estate assets are yield bearing because they are rental properties. Okay, so people live there and pay rent. Okay, now there's a lot more to it than what I'm saying. There's like maintenance fees and management fees and stuff like that. You have to read deeper on that. But let's just say, think of it this way. Those real estate assets produce yield, okay, or about 8%, 8.5% or so, okay? So that yield, that rent is used to, is taken, is converted to DAI, and then that DAI is added to the treasury. Okay, when that DAI is added to the treasury, then the collateralization of USDR has gone up. So then they rebase all of the USDR holders that DAI, okay? Moving on. Now, in events that the collateralization for some reason has gone down, maybe these assets go down in value or the tangible tokens go down in value or something like this, if this collateral ratio goes below 100%, then half of that DAI will just be held. Okay, it won't be rebased. So basically, the rebase will be halved in the event that the collateralization is less than 100. Okay, so these people will always get some rebase, but they will give up a little bit of rebase in order to attack the under collateralization of this USDR. Now, these assets are actual assets. They're properties, they're buildings, and buildings tend to go up in value sometimes. So in the case where the value of those assets go up, then that value is collateralizing more USDR. And that USDR, instead of being given as rebases, is used to get more DAI to buy more real estate assets off of the marketplace, okay? Now, as well as the tangible token. So the tangible token inside the treasury might go up in value as well. And if it goes up in value, then it's collateralizing more USDR, and that USDR can be sold for DAI to purchase more real estate assets. So I'm going to repeat this to be very clear. Okay, so improvements or the value of the collateral inside the treasury, if it goes up, then that value is used to purchase more assets. The rental from those assets is used to rebase and provide APR to USDR holders, okay? Okay, now the tangible marketplace does have a fee. Now, so it's a 2.5% fee, as well as Grandma, I think she gets a royalty fee because she's the one who minted the tokens. So every time somebody buys and sells on the tangible market these real world assets, then there's a 2.5% fee, a protocol fee, and that protocol fee is split. 33% is used to buy tangible tokens off the market and burn them, and 66% is sent to people who have locked the tangible token. So I can't find anywhere where you can earn tangible tokens. So maybe there was earn ability before, but now let's say you buy some from the market, right? Then you can lock them for up to 4 years. It's all like BE NFT style, where the longer you lock, the more power your NFT has and so forth. And if you relock and all that kind of stuff. So those fees from that marketplace are given as USDC to these NFT holders. Okay, now again, you got to look at here that this treasury is purchasing quite a bit. Okay, so but it's also third-party people. Someone else wants to buy some NFTs or buy some of those real estate assets or some of these other NFTs. Then there's that fee, and that fee goes to these 4-year lockers or so forth. Okay. Now there's also the talk that like if the circulating supply is capped at 33,333,333, but if it's less than that, if the circulating supply is not up, then they will mint some more tokens, and they will put those tokens as additional yield or additional rewards on NFT holders. However, they don't give them all to them. They give them some of them they can claim now, and some are kind of like vesting. But if you want, you can claim them all and reduce the amount of like power you have in your NFT to earn USDC. Okay. Okay, let's swing back over to the treasury. The treasury is holding these real estate assets as well as some DAI and stuff like this. So there are these numbers inside that are kind of like guides or goals or targets for the treasury. Okay, so between 50 to 80% are in these real estate NFTs. Okay, so that's what they want to hold the most of. Between 10 to 50% is in liquid DAI for redemptions and stuff like this. Okay. Between 0 to 10% is this tangible token, which kind of mentioned here, like people cannot mint, right? Between 10 to 20% is protocol-owned liquidity as USDLPs. I'll talk about that in a second when I get down here to Pearl. So they take the DAI and they take some USDR and they put it in liquidity pools, okay, and earns fees and stuff like that. And then 5 to 10% is used for insurance, okay? So now let's talk a little bit about this Pearl DEX, okay? Like I said before, it's a solidly DEX. I'm not going to explain to you how a solidly DEX works. That's homework, or watch another video, okay? But it's a solidly DEX, and it's predominantly USDR pairs, okay? And so a lot of stable swap pairs as well as some volatiles, okay? So this treasury sends a fair amount of assets to these pools as protocol-owned liquidity. Okay. Now Solidly it's a Solidly model, so they have VE NFTs, and those VE NFTs, they direct emissions, they vote in direct emissions of Pearl tokens on these various pools. Okay. So obviously this treasury is earning Pearl, as well as it must have gotten some partner NFTs given to it, so it's voting as well. However, Dollar Bill here, he might have some, and he might want to play this game, but it's a pain. Solidly models they're kind of a pain to run. So you can do it manually, but if it's mostly stable swap pairs and it's mostly these VE NFTs voting on this in order to gain the fees, which are mostly stable swaps, then they've kind of created this thing called CVR, which automates this process. So Dollar Bill can take his VE NFT, his VE Pearl, and he can convert it to CVR. Now they talk about at the start, it was a 5% fee, but after I think 4 million are converted, then they go to 12% fee. So you can convert your VE NFT into this CVR token, and this CVR token will automatically vote for you and so forth, okay? Now, you can also take just liquid Pearl tokens and convert it to CVR. And then you can also just buy CVR off the market. So if you have any kind of token, you can just kind of route through this pool here, which is Pearl CVR. And you can buy some Pearl and then use the Pearl to buy some CVR tokens, okay? Now the CVR tokens, if you stake them, right, then you're going to earn those trading fees. So these trading fees are collected by the CVR vault, so to speak, the auto voter, and they are sent to everybody who has staked CVR in the staking contract, okay? Which I would assume this treasury has a substantial amount of this as well, Okay, so I hope this has been enough. It's pretty long. There's quite a bit here, and obviously there's a few things I've only really just touched on, and you'll have to dig a little bit deeper to really get a clear understanding. But I think for most people who watch my channel regularly, this will be understandable and clear enough for you. So I hope this has been useful, and I thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.